My name is Demetrius Holt, but you may know me better by the name Hellspawn. Now I'm coming to you today because I'm putting together a networking event in order to financially bolster Black-owned comic book conventions. It's going to be called the Blurred and Powerful event, and it's going to happen at San Diego Comic-Con 2023. Now, I've already done all the research. I've already talked to all the conventions. What I need for you all is to just share this message. Talk to your friends. But the point is to get high-dollar investors out of San Diego so that they can see what a comic book convention could look like at its height. So that when these other comic book conventions start to exhibit to them, start to explain to them what they're made of, then they know that they're going to get a return on their investment. So if you have any information on anybody that you may know might be interested, please contact me and we'll have a conversation. And if your friends need to know who I am, just tell them to Google my name or Black E-Man. Thanks.
In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. Imagine that, a future that's super black. Long as your skin brown, your superpowers intact. What would your powers be? Just hope it ain't super whack. Spatial manipulation, create a portal that's black. Maybe just super speed, time travel to run it back. Or cheat manipulation to keep my spirit intact. As I encounter evils the world face, demons the world makes, I'm needed the world in state. Rest in peace to Chadwick, they killed all the Black Panthers. Told us white lies, I still marvel at black answers. Suits in DC, pray it lead to a civil war. It ain't no Justice League, what's the need to be civil for? Propelled like the juggernaut, it's clear ain't no stopping this. The world in grave danger, who can stop the apocalypse? They killed all the heroes, the new ones don't really care. But if you need me, put your fist up in the air. Yeah, in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black.
Hello, everybody. Let's take that off of there. Hello, everybody. It's your man on the wall. Normally, Will say the man in black, but it's the man on the wall today, the man up north, the man, Chris Fury, coming back with another episode of Blurred's Eye View. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. Thank you for showing your support. And if this is your first time checking us out, thank you once again. Check us out on Facebook, Blurred's Eye View Podcast. Go to the YouTube page, Blurred's Eye View, and you can check us out on Twitch, Blurred's Eye View 1. Check us out also on IG, Blurred's Eye View, all one word, and it will show you to the link in the bio with all that great information and places that you can find us. But before I go any further, I want to thank our sponsors over at Paramount Pictures for the movie Devotion, starring Jonathan Reynolds. Bring Devotion home now on digital. Jonathan Majors and Glenn Powell star in this epic and inspirational story based on true events of two heroic U.S. fighter pilots whose sacrifices made them the Navy's most celebrated wingmen. Buy Devotion on digital now, packed with behind-the-scenes bonus content available at participating retailers, rated PG from Paramount Pictures. So thank you to them. First off, let's get our team in here. Lady of Mandalore, Kira, what's going on?
Hi, how you guys doing this evening?
I'm a little excited. That's why I got a little tongue-tied. I'll tell you why in a second. Breaking news. Oh man, you'll love this. The Black Fox of the Square Circle, Will, what's going on?
What's going on?
Not the cinematic assassin, Will, the other Will.
I'm about to go by something else. We
gotta find a name.
We gotta find a different name because Will and Will be is gonna be confusing as hell. What up, everybody?
It sounds like a black sitcom. Will and Will. It just does.
I think it might as well just be Brother Man at this point. Just come
Brother Man. Oh man, we got. How was y'all's weekend, man?
Oh,
yeah, it's one of those.
Productive.
I can't say nothing. Mine has been all baby stuff, so I am learning new things about just life.
Oh Lord.
Like,
He was like,
Like,
that
I'm-
happens. Yeah, they're gonna
I
be
mean,
running around with a no
you
diaper
gotta-
on, and you just put it on
y'all,
and
look,
figure it
I'm-
out.
Look, I'm not trying to make fun of y'all women, Kira, but when y'all get babies, y'all think of everything. Like,
Wait, hold
I
on. In
Wait a
defense of
minute.
Kira, in
Wait a
defense of
minute.
Kira,
no,
women
I mean,
always think of everything.
I
What do
mean,
you?
here's the thing.
It's
I
not
thought
just
I
with
was-
the babies.
That's
no,
not.
hang on, Kira. Hang on, Kira. Hang on.
You
I'm-
made a whole comment on my
I know,
entire
because you know why?
babies, and I gotta hold on. Wait a minute,
Because you gotta let me finish. You was ready to come straight with the spear. Just hold on.
sir.
Hold
You shot
on.
me in the chest. Hold on. And
I
then you
was
tell me to
was saying that I did not know how much went into it. Like, she gave me the CVS receipt list
Yes.
of things we need. I'm like, we need all this.
Yeah, you have a
And
whole
it's our very own
Oh!
cinematic
Jesus.
assassin. We'll be
Oh!
watching. I guess you got
There
the
he
dinner
is.
made and everything. Like the dinner went on without a hitch, I guess.
He closed down dinner and showed up. What up?
Oh wow! Wow, that's give me some.
Wait, we gotta let him catch his breath first.
I'm so just
Well, see, I'm glad you're here because of something I'm gonna announce. So get your tally card out.
okay.
He knows what it is. When I said that way, he was like, okay. And this time it's for a very solid reason. But before we get into that, we got a guest here with us. Go ahead, Karen. Before I do want you.
Oh no, Will, I'm still coming. I'm not gonna forget.
She was ready to come with the
I'm gonna get you later. It's okay
She was
though.
ready to come with the spear. I was gonna give a compliment.
You know,
She was
I got like
this.
two, Kira, if you want, I got two of them here. Like, did you take your pick? They both Wakandan made. You know,
Like, dang, let me finish the sentence before you throw the spear.
Sir, go, please, by all means. Finish off. Land this plane, sir.
No, I'm good now. Look, I'm trying to.
That's it.
I want to hear Will's coffee for closers, because this man slayed a spousal dinner and just smooth came in.
Facts.
Hey, to be fair, you gotta have a good teammate, because she yesterday dinner went to about 9:30, 10 o'clock. So I just sort of threw in the towel as soon as she's like, dinner got moved up tomorrow to today. But then she looked at the clock around like 8:05, was like, hey, should we get going? I was like, yes, sir.
They say less. Yeah, he hit her with the Isaac from My Love Boat. He was like, yes, sir. We got a special guest with us tonight. He is a writer of The Vanguard, A Dread and Glorious Kingdom. Chase Bolling is in the building with us. Sci-fi and fantasy writer, man. This is dope. What's going on, Chase?
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. Peace and power to everybody watching.
All right. So before we get to your book, we got some news, and I just can't wait to get to this one. You got the card ready? You got the card ready?
I gotta get my hat together so you knock it off. Hold on.
Ready? You ready? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the winner of a Golden Globe Award, Angela Bassett.
Yes, man.
Well deserved.
Yes, queen. Yeah.
Well deserved.
Rocket.
I told you it was worth it.
Wow.
Very well, much deserved, very much earned, very. Lord of mercy, we was gonna have to go to the streets. We were gonna have to go to the streets. You don't get nominated that many times, and like we still need that Oscar. We don't necessarily want it because we already know, but you know what? Just to put the boots to asses sort of thing.
Isn't the thing supposed to be if you win the Golden Globe, you're more than likely going to get the Oscar? Isn't that the
generally
it's supposed to be an indicator?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be an indicator.
Yeah. I mean, the same people that are doing voting the Golden Globes are the people that are voting in the Oscars. So in theory,
right?
Yeah, it's not a direct one-to-one, but it increases your chances significantly.
Look, she walk away with an Oscar. I'm done with everything. Everything else don't matter. I'm like, she can get nominated. I'm like, look, she walked away with it. She earned it. She should have had it years ago. That's okay. AMC has been going through tons of AMC Plus. Let's put it that way. AMC. They've been canceling shows. And it's not just AMC Plus. It's AMC Plus. Netflix has done it. It's something about, I don't know what it is. I've never seen this happen before, where a show gets greenlit and then gets snatched, or is done with production and gets snatched. Like AMC Plus canceled Damascus. And Jenny Hubert, the original Aunt Vid, was in this one. Martin Lawrence is in this one. This was a sci-fi Black-led series. And it was this one, and it was also another one they canceled. And then they canceled an animation show called Pantheon, another sci-fi show. So I'm like, what is with the cancellations? Netflix carried or canceled a couple animated shows and a couple live at one show they canceled. It only did one season. And I can't remember which other. I'm like,
Warrior Nun. I'm still butthurt about it.
Yeah, Warrior Nun is another one. Like, I'm like, you're canceling these shows. A lot of them, and the ones that I've heard that's been canceled, like they're done shooting. Like all they got to do is air the stuff. Like they're done. And here you were just snatching them down. And being totally honest, is a good friend of mine who is he works behind the scenes on not big budget, but he's worked on some stuff. He says like a lot of these streaming services, you got to think they don't make money. These production houses, they're not making money. So the climate is changing for how we see our movies. It was Laserdisc, VHS, going to the theaters, watching it on cable, Blu-ray, DVD. Now you got streaming. What's next? Where does the balance end, or off balance end, I guess?
I think streaming's gonna be the ceiling. I'm sorry, go ahead, Chess. You go ahead.
Well, this is what I'll say, right? I mean, it all depends on what you're sticking to. If you're like, yo, we're going to theaters for 6 months, and we're going to theaters for 6 months, and you stick to it, what are people gonna do?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all about whether or not, like, you are going to, I think nobody knows who they are in a corporate sense anymore. They watch the culture shift while they were all stuck in the house. So it's like, okay, boom. What do we do? Right? Like, which way do we go, George? So instead of just either let's kick it with tradition and try to kick it old school and bring back prime time and how we used to do things, right? Everybody's like, all right, let's try this. Oh, this ain't working. Oh, let's try this. Oh man, this might be good. This might be bad. Let's cancel everything. And now you can't even trust your subscriptions no more.
No.
Because
you really can't
at all.
Like, what's the point? I mean, you gonna cancel something I like and keep taking my money? Like, nah, bro, I'm straight.
Yeah, so I'm with you, Chase. I'm thinking because the typical hard run for a movie tends to be 3 months. That's the hard run. Like that's where they make all their money, because 3 months later, another film drops. Something they felt like it probably wouldn't compete, but it's going to make some money by itself. So now you got the 3 months of a release from a movie, plus maybe another month, right? And then you got that lag time for maybe a month or so. And then by that, listen, so now you're looking at 4 months going on 5. You figure by the end of the 5th month, maybe the beginning of the 6th. All right, let's go ahead and let's drop this. Let's put this on streaming because it's already on Blu-ray, like within that middle time.
Same time period, yeah.
So now you're making your money, but then once it gets to a streaming service, okay, for those who just have a different work-life balance or whatever, or don't want to go to the movie theaters because let's face it, it costs.
Oh,
it costs.
Small child.
Yeah,
listen, I spent $80 to see The Woman King and had to leave 15 minutes into the movie, bro.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, you want to talk about mad?
I can't get that money back.
Oh, never. Nah, my daughter just owes me her first couple paychecks when she get grown. Like, I got a bill. I'm gonna send her an invoice.
She's like, that's what it. Yeah, send her the invoice.
Yeah,
I'm like, so I was totally invested in this film, and we had to leave.
Right.
Yeah, we had to leave, bro.
But that's the thing, though. It's like you can't fight streaming. It's like streaming itself at this point is a monster, because once it was small, it was ignored. But let's be honest, combination of COVID, combination of us staying indoors, the fact that a lot of movie studios, mainly DC and HBO Max, had their deal where a lot of their movies that were in theaters were going to be streamed. And now, if you haven't noticed, like we see this now, a lot of movies, depending on how they do in movie theaters, will either be on streaming within the month or 2 months down the road. You got people looking forward. It's like, think about, put it this way: Black Adam got put on HBO Max within what?
About
2 weeks,
almost
2 weeks of showing.
It came out in October. Yeah, it came out in October. Like by the time November rolled around,
it was
Wakanda
on
Forever was
HBO
dropping.
Max.
It was going,
and we're just
Max.
now
There was no competition,
right? And we're just now getting to Wakanda Forever, about to be streaming on Disney Plus very soon.
Yeah.
So
that's
that's
supposed to be this month, but they said nope. We're going to put it on February 1st. Yeah, right. I see. It's Black History.
They're trying to cover us for Black History Month. They
yeah.
trying to say, here you go, Black folks, for the shortest month of the year. Here's your movie that you love so much. But no, it's just the thing about it is just that,
I mean, we do love the movie. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, yes, we love the movie, but you people
they had to pander so hard.
Yeah, right.
Like, look, just give us the audience, bro.
Right. But no, that's just the thing, though. It's like most major production companies are now realizing that the pot ain't as big as it used to be. That you're either going to have to stream, or, which is the most unlikely thing, is that movie companies are no longer have to go the streaming route, which would be ridiculous, because as long as your big three, your Hulu, your Disney Plus, I guess 4, Amazon, and your Netflix, as long as they're throwing $1 billion at these movie companies, their movies will always be streaming. So until someone sat there and goes, we're going to be exclusive, like Jay said, unless we sit there and say we're going to be exclusive, that trend is just going to keep going downward. It's just going to be a fight between the theaters and streaming.
I mean, you would have to be someone, and I'm mentioning James Cameron because I have watched other James Cameron films and like them. Don't get me wrong, but like Avatar, it's already prone to make close to $2 billion. They're looking at a $2 billion mark.
$2 billion? How do we get to 1.5?
It's already at $1 billion.
It's already at $1 billion something by now. $1.5 billion, I think, as the last time.
So it's close. It's close. So it's one of them things. It will break even. It's looking to break even. So unless you're one of these, I guess, higher end directors who has the push and the pull to say, hey, no, I don't want my stuff here, because if you do it, I'm walking. You know, I'll bust the contract and the hell with everything else, so I can leave. So they're just like, no, leave his stuff in, it'll make money, opposed to like new directors coming in and they proven and they have proven. Jordan Peele, show and prove. Ryan Coogler, show and prove. So here you have something where they don't know how to react, and it is that give and take, and they don't have, the new directors don't have that push.
But I tell you who would, though, if he would be so brave to say it. I doubt he will, because let's be honest, the mouse holds the Infinity Gauntlet. If Kevin Feige tomorrow sat there and said that every Marvel movie going forward would just be cinematic only until a year later for those movies to show on Disney Plus, maybe and only maybe would that be the only person I can think of that could pull that off. Because James,
they wouldn't. They're not going to do that.
No, that's what I said. That's what I said. The mouse ain't gonna let that happen.
No.
Keep in mind, I said the mouse.
I smoke. I can't smoke in the movie theater. I gotta sit there for 2 hours to not smoke. I had to spend my hard-earned money. I'm just waiting.
Jay still mad about that 80. I don't blame him.
$80. And it's like, so it's like, dude. Like, I will wait till it come out on streaming. Just like I wasn't gonna drop another $80 to go see The Woman King again. I support it. I show love. I spend money for a movie I ain't even get to watch, right? And then I waited, and then I bought it when it came on available to stream, because I could sit, twist up, and watch it from the comfort of my own home, where can't nobody put me out from doing what I like to do when I watch movies. Right. So it's like
right there,
right there.
Right? I think culture-wise, I don't know if we'll ever do it, but I don't think it's a bad thing that young directors get to come in, make their bones on streaming. So maybe one day they could be like, no, theaters only, or I'll never do this, and go full-blown Hank Moody right? And it worked like that.
But there was a short gap where the video on demand and theater release was there, like the same day release. It was there. It was a short gap, and it's still there, but it's not as prevalent as the streaming and the theater and theatrical only releases.
Right.
Yeah. So I think eliminating the middle ground messes up your money.
It does. It does.
I think that's like,
if it doesn't do it in the front, it's going to do it on the back end somewhere.
Like I watch it. I pay $25 to watch a movie. Streaming the day it come out. Right. Then I might not wait you out. Right, because it just came out. It's a new movie, and I don't got to worry about my ignorant friends ruining nothing. But like when it all comes down, they know who they are. When it all comes down to it, though, like I really think that it's like this: either movie studios, it'll go back like it was back in the day, like 50s Hollywood, where we own you and you can't work anywhere else but for us. And they have everybody so locked down that the streaming services are like, all right, well, damn, man, y'all done just contractually obligated everybody to not play with us. So it is what it is. But that's the only way to win the fight.
Mob tactics almost.
You bring up a good point about the convenience thing, because let's be honest, we all got used to doing everything at home. So it's like, it's like, what'd you rather do? Would you rather sit in an uncomfortable movie theater, or would you rather be in front of your own TV and pay probably less than you pay a movie theater? Like you said, trust me, I get it. I'm spending anywhere from, like you said, $80 to $100. Just take a crew to the movie. So I get it.
Yeah, for real. Nah, that was just me and my wife and like minimal snacks, bro. Like,
and the snacks.
Like you can't even stop at the gas station or the corner store anymore for the snacks, because the snacks don't went up. You're like,
yo, for real, it's bad. Inflation is terrible.
As long as I'm not paying $3 for some daggone gummy bears. What are you talking about?
And then 4 hours later, you back in there.
Get it on sale.
Nah, honey, get the big purse. Get the big purse. We either go to the nearest Walmart or Dollar General and stock up, because if you ain't noticed, theater security will not stop a woman with a big purse.
No, they won't.
They will not.
And they definitely not. And they definitely not stopping a black woman with one. So
man,
the beginning and end of my story is chicken parmesan plate.
Okay? That's impressive.
I can commend you on that one.
Very hard.
That is very impressive.
For real.
Didn't spill
marinara, everything.
Everything. It was good. It was still warm when I got there.
Hey, listen, I've been in the theater before Thanksgiving night with the leftovers wrapped up.
I gotta step my game up.
I definitely have been in the theater like caked up from a family function. Like, yo, we going to the movies. Like, yo, I'm gonna need a slice of this red velvet and this here pecan pie. This whole pie.
I'm gonna have to step my game up, because Kira sneaking in pasta, Will sneaking in turkey. I thought I was doing good with just gummy bears and Cokes. But
no.
You gotta understand. You gotta walk in there like you're supposed to have it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Put it in the diaper bag, bro, and march forward boldly. Like,
What
you gonna do?
No, don't even pay it on mine. Just act like you just keep it.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. My woman turns into a straight linebacker from the Chicago Bears when we going up there. It's like she has the "I wish you would" look face. Like she chooses violence when we go up there. So it's like
that. I wish one would. I wish.
She pulls a Samuel Jackson. Like she'll look dead at the security guard. Like, do you need to check my purse? The guy goes, no. I mean, hands up all together. Like, bruh's like, ma'am, you can go. You good. I'm just saying.
Damn right.
Aaron said charcuterie travels well. Just saying. Oh my God. So in other news, and I've heard him meeting with Marvel before. We weren't sure for what role, still don't know. But Adam Driver is rumored.
Reed Richards.
I can see this.
I know you a black ass lie. I know you lying to me in this house today.
I can see this shit.
There ain't no way on God. I will walk down.
And the fandom will scream. The chaos will be glorious.
Ain't no way.
You said the chaos is gonna be glorious.
The chaos will happen.
The chaos will be glorious. Yo, he might really do it. He might do his thing. That might be the role he was meant to play. That might be his Iron Man, bro. It really might.
You never know. You never know.
I
was seeing him. I was seeing him as Doom myself, but you know,
we
you
might
never know.
We might see another Sonic bullying happening. We might see the second coming of the Sonic bullying.
Right. I'll be one of them. I will not show up to work in order to enforce that photo. Ain't no way.
So I must pay for this.
Yeah, right. So I remember I seen an interview a while back that Idris Elba did, and with Graham Norton, and he was saying that he really didn't want to play. He doesn't want to play James Bond, despite what the fans want. He doesn't want to play because he doesn't want to play a role that's kind of shoehorning him into a particular, and I can understand that. That makes what he said, it makes a lot of sense. We want him as James Bond. However, I can understand his statement on it, but his character Luther said it would make a great James Bond style franchise.
Do it. I dare you do it.
Because he has a movie coming out.
Listen, we remember The Wire.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you ain't okay, I get it. The Wire, American gangster movie. Cool. Y'all need to watch Luther. This shit is fire. There's no reason to ignore this series. It is so good.
I'm still trying to hurt over the Genie movie. I watched that thinking I was gonna get like black speculative fiction and got like a whole different plantation style vibe that I ain't appreciate.
Oh man.
So bro.
Just little punchlines.
No.
He did catch Mufasa with the fade though.
He did.
He caught Mufasa with that fade.
I was like, oh, okay.
No, I don't know.
Once again, he goes into the black people that survived a horror style movie thing.
But to Kira's point though, Luther is. I mean, I can see Luther as a movie series, which they really could do. But it's amazing that so many that outside of Blurs and Nerds, that Luther should actually be getting a lot more play outside of BBC.
I do not.
Really should.
They've been moving more towards him getting movies instead of it being a TV series.
Yeah,
He's only been doing like these 2-hour bumps of Luther lately. Anyway,
so British TV series, they do that. They give you this. They give you like almost short seasons or these little hour flicks, or maybe 2-hour series.
It's the weirdest 8 to 13 Well, no, because Doctor Who gives you 13. Luther gives you 8, but 8 episode seasons, which is weird, but it doesn't feel like 8 episodes. Like Kira said, it feels like a full-blown movie, really.
Yeah, it does. It does. So our favorite couple this weekend had a massive showing. And I'm talking about now, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I'm talking about good old Wanda and Vision, or Vishon, as the Blurs have affectionately known him, because technically he is made of vibranium, so he's us. But we're talking about their offshoot of a daughter, Megan.
I can't unsee that now.
Oh yes. I'm so convinced that was Elizabeth Olsen, or they based it on her. I had my wife like hunting through IMDb. I was like, nah, she's got to be involved. She's
there has to be a solution to this.
Well, let's put this to her. Let's put this to rest. Will here this will stall. See, she's part of the family.
I mean, it could fit. It could fit, but
I mean,
still,
she's there. Like she's.
They should have never gave you girls the internet. Why?
Because the internet is undefeated. The internet is undefeated.
I had too much free time. I had to.
When? That's a lie too. Wait a minute.
Well, that is a lie. I really don't have free time. I got a DeLorean in the backyard.
I believe it.
So, in things in comics that may have jumped the shark, we have two things, and I'll let you pick which has gone too far.
Yeah, you make
is it Joker being pregnant?
I knew it before it hit the screen.
Yeah. Here's the offspring.
Oh,
Jesus.
I didn't realize they showed it.
Oh.
And he's adorable as Joker says.
Nightmare fuel.
Nightmare fuel. Or is it Batman falling from space and surviving?
I mean, he probably had prep time, so
unlimited.
Yo,
it's Batman. Unlimited prep time
for the unknown unknowns anyway. So yeah, sure, why not?
And I'll top that with the Batman. He actually used his trunks because his oxygen mask was starting to burn, so he used his trunks to cover the mask to stop the burning.
Yeah,
you need to stop.
I don't write this stuff. I read it.
It gets worse as he's landing. You thought that was bad? It gets worse as he's decelerating.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
It's the wildest thing. Worse. You're just like, I'm like, all right. I'm like, Batman, I'm with you with a lot of stuff.
I'm like, Batman is my go-to, but as a Batman fan, I was like, there was a lot of thought put into this. And
somewhere Black Panther is just like, this is just gone too far.
Yeah, you do it too much,
like,
we don't do that here.
We don't do that here.
We don't do that here. No.
We wear spacesuits. Clark is over there just like, that's just uncalled for.
I feel like DC's never gotten over Avengers Endgame.
They haven't.
Yeah, and this is what happened. It was like, nah,
we gotta figure it out. We
gotta do this. Batman has to be better than Tony Stark, even though they got the same superpower. Like money, white privilege. White privilege. Commissioner Gordon would have shot the shit out of Batman if he was a brother, and that's just
he really would have.
Is that a nigga in the cape? Like,
I'm trying to figure out what makes it worse is that that somewhere on a plane they saw Batman falling to the sky, and somebody was sitting there the whole time just like, so we just gonna ignore what we just saw.
I know Joker was someone like Batsy. It's just
you see Joker. So how did you really fall?
He just left all crime behind to study how Batman.
I need to see this. Just stop everything. Stop everything.
Joker becomes a scientist just to figure
out. Oh my God. Harvey Dent is just like, you know what? I'm just ready to leave this town.
I'm out. That's an I'm out moment. Like,
I'm out.
You gotta he survived falling from space, bro. You ain't no crime worth that.
You say what he did. He fell from space and survived.
Yeah, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. We're done.
I put the gun up after that.
Yeah.
But the Joker story wasn't that bad. I know me and Chris talked about that. It wasn't bad. It just had a different direction of where it could have went. Because they didn't really gill the whole 9 yards him being pregnant. It was kind of fast forwarding through some spots. But me and Chris were like, what would have been cool to see the Joker just go through hormonal changes and everything that comes with pregnancy, but it comes from his side of things. I'm like, that would have been funny.
Why are my breasts swollen? Why do I have breasts?
Listen, as a man that went through sympathy symptoms with both of his children, it's really actually nothing funny about it, bro. It's like, yo, this guy, and I want Dr. Pepper. I ain't never liked Dr. Pepper. I ever wanted a Dr. Pepper in my life.
So sympathy symptoms is real?
And it was like, yeah, dog. I thought it was a lie too. I really thought it was a lie. And I kept telling myself, like, you don't love her like that, bro. Come on, yo. Buck up. Like, this ain't supposed to be happening to you. Like,
oh, wow.
I was hurt. I was so hurt. And everybody I work with just thought it was the coolest shit. And I'm like, nah, bro. Like, I'm a whole.
So wow.
Yeah, I was
sorry.
upset.
I'm just learning things right now.
Started crying and it was bad. Like, yo, I really thought it was nonsense, bro. I really did. Yeah. This is what I get for not believing. This is what I get for being a non-believer.
We'll change your life one way or the other, fellas.
So we're gonna take this quick break and we're gonna come back with our guest Chase, and we're gonna talk about his book, The Vanguard. It's gonna be dope. Because if you like sci-fi and fantasy and you're a blurred, you're definitely gonna love this.
This just in.
Feeling groggy in the morning? Coffee just can't give you that pep in the step that you're looking for? Try Pop Starts for that great get up and go that adults need. Pop Starts has the vitamin and nutrients that only grown-ups can partake in, and with flavors such as tossed salad and scrambled eggs, and Jack Daniels and Bud Light flavors to start your day or end it. There's nothing better to wake up to unless you count that depressing cubicle job. Well, anyway, try Pop Starts today. Pop Starts is not part of the Kellogg's Corporation. Pop Starts could give you diarrhea. Pop Starts are not found in your local grocery store. Running low on energy, long days and even longer nights, tired of all the other energy drinks and bars promise you a lot and never delivering? Need to make it through work, but want a product that can keep up with your busy lifestyle? Want no longer? Try Chef's Chocolate Salty Balls. The balls that are so smooth and with a load of nutrients and vitamins to really get you up and bouncing off the walls. Made with all natural ingredients and healthy junk to satisfy even the pickiest eater. Chef's Chocolate Salty Balls are sold everywhere where you buy your junk. And now for those who want that extra kick in the butt, comes Chef's Heavy Duty Chocolate Salty Balls with 120% more caffeine than the leading brand. Disclaimer, this product has not been approved by the FDA or World Health Association. Warning, this product is not intended for consumption by children, elderly people, or women who are pregnant, or may become pregnant. You might even get pregnant. Someone's going to sue us eventually. Or me. Whatever. I'm going to tell DC to write another one just so I can do it. So we have our guest tonight, who is the author of The Vanguard, A Dread and Glorious Kingdom. Let's bring that book out so they can get a good look at it. Here we go. Chase Bolling.
Sorry.
So what's going on? We're going to bring you in quite nicely here. Let me get my... there we go. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, right. So, because I don't pay y'all that much. Just chill out over there. This crowd, I swear to God. But so Chase, let's talk about your book, The Vanguard. First off, let's start at the beginning. What made you want to start putting, what was the thought process between by putting POCs in the forefront of fantasy and sci-fi?
I can remember watching Black Panther for the first time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that vibe that everybody left with, right? Everybody was all uplifted, riding this wave. But all I'm thinking about in my brain is remembering Coogler and Phage being like, this is not for African Americans. This is an African story about people in Africa. And so I was like, well, damn, I don't know if I like the way that feel. Right. And so I read like a lot, you know, like, and I got tired. Like, I read a lot of historical fiction, right? Epic fantasy. And I just got tired of characters with blonde hair and blue eyes and features that don't look nothing like mine. And I could remember coming across like the Malazan series, which if you're into like epic fantasy, like this shit makes Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones look like Dr. Seuss. Like I got to see some dope Black characters and some really well thought out stuff, and then I go look and Stephen Erickson's like this archaeologist, and I was like, this makes perfect sense. But it's like not a lot, and so I wanted characters that looked like me, that came from a background like mine, because you know that's important. When we look at a lot of the technology that we have today, all that started out as science fiction. Right. All that started out as somebody's fantasy that somebody wanted to make real, right? So if we don't see ourselves in this science fiction, we don't see ourselves in this fantasy, then nobody sees us in the world. We don't have a place, right? When you think about the future, you think about Star Trek and Star Wars and stuff like that, a lot of them folk don't look like us. And so what does that mean? We don't exist in the future? And so I think in order for us to shift that mindset, we got to decolonize the imagination. right? Because so many times they be like, "Oh, you black?" Like people like, "Oh, you right?" Like, yeah, they like, "What you write?" Like street lit? Like, nah. I write fantasy books, and they're like, "What?" Like, yeah. Like, and then they're like, "Yo, that's not what we do." And so we have to decolonize that thinking. Like, yo, yes, black people belong in fantasy. Black people belong in sci-fi. Black people belong in cosplay. And the whole reason why we had this big backlash against black people in cosplay is because we don't see ourselves in this sphere of science fiction and fantasy. And so I just really wanted to create a new fandom for us, right? Where the main character is a blurred, right? And he likes things that we like, and he comes from backgrounds that we understand, right? And give us something that we could identify with in ways that maybe we couldn't with T'Challa.
Right. Will, you have something? Or Cinematic Assassin? We'll start there. I forgot. We gotta get up with the Will and Will great thing is we gotta figure it out.
I'm gonna change my name to Obi at this point.
So if you can give us the sort of rough outline of the Vanguard. Like,
all right. Things kick off after a government weapons project. It's an nano-robotic AI. It goes rogue. So rather than, intercepting missiles or anything trying to hit the president, it just sets weapons technology back to the Iron Age. And, certain protocols exist within our government for emergency situations, right? And those things just start kicking in, but the pigs don't have no guns. And so the main character, his name is Cassette, he sees things starting to go down. He's what you call a prepper. You know what I'm saying? And so when he starts to see certain stuff happening, he calls his boys like, "Yo, remember all that shit we was talking about? Yo, it's going down. Like, let's rock. Like, meet me at the crib for spades and Hennessy, and we're gonna talk it out." And so they squad up, and he pretty much like, "Yo, we going on a raid like it's the good old days," because pretty much what they had done was they had taken a step away from the street violence and the gang shit, started getting into SCA, historical African martial arts, HEMA, right? And so it's like everybody thought they were tripping, and now here we are. Medieval weapons are the only weapons, and they've been kicking ass in the SCA all these years. And so when shit hits the fan, they're ready to rock because the whole plan is, we gonna steal, we gotta steal and get out of here. But when things kick off, he sees this opportunity to throw off the shackles. And so that's exactly what he does. And what ends up happening is his defiance and unique blend that made Cassette who he is allowed him to sort of set up this post-apocalyptic Camelot in the hood. And so he uses, what he learned from historical African martial arts and just being a total blurred, and builds a nation with it and does everything he can to defend it.
What you got, Will?
Oh, no, I'm listening because I was like, the first thing he sat there and said was when an AI took over, the first thing he did was nuke everything. So I was like, yep, that's what I truly believe about AIs. That is my true belief about AIs. Yeah. No, I know. I love the premise that you have for the book. I was slick kind of reading because I had a Kindle Unlimited, so I'm slick kind of reading it as you're talking. So I dig the premise on it. The whole idea is like of Doomsday Prepper and just really taking it from a different aspect as far as what we would do in the event of if technology and modern electronics, everything just pretty much went to crap. But doomsday prepping, organization, actually having a squad, if you will. As I said, I always, we tease that idea. You see that in certain movies and stuff like that, but to actually have it to where it's more of a literal sense. And also the reason why you said the reason why my ears perked up because you said SCA, and I'm like, as a martial arts fan, I'm like, okay, you have my total attention at that. But no, I just gotta ask, I guess the question I would ask is, what led you to this concept? I guess is the best question I can ask you.
I'm a total sword geek, right? I'm keeping it a break. In high school, I played football. I was one of the first 10 black lacrosse players to play lacrosse at the City of Bridgeport Public High School. And I wanted defense, right? So the defensive backs coach was the fencing coach. He's like Bolling, you know, your defensive tackle and the guard, sir. Like, this ain't the sport for you. I'm like, coach, just give me the stick, man, and let me do what I do. And so after a couple of days of practice, I'm winning every fight and losing every actual fencing match because I don't care about your points. I'm just trying to beat you down. So I'm trying to win. And so he pulls me aside. He goes, listen, you're not fencing, you are fighting, and it would be a crime to train out your natural instincts. And he puts me on to the fight books. So I started learning stuff like Fiore de Libiere and Jules de la Haque and Hans Tauhofer, of course, right? And so it just kind of started, like, it fed this lifelong fascination with people of color in a medieval setting. Like I was saying earlier backstage, like I loved the first Robin Hood movies with Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman. Like I seen Azim with the sword cutting up white men, and I was like, "Word! This is what I want to do when I grow up." Right? And then little did I know, my mother and friend looked at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, "Nah, bro, I want to be a knight of Wakanda. I could really get up here and do this and hit people's swords, and I ain't gonna get in trouble. Like this is great." And then I went through my car windshield, and like my life changed.
Well, that is a very hard switch.
That was a okay.
Yeah, like my life changed. Like 2019, I had the audacity to get almost killed by one of those drug addicted whites that Dave Chappelle was talking about. That was driving his car too fast, ignoring the stop sign, and I was the thing to stop him. And so, you know, the world just kind of stopped because I was a machinist. You know what I'm saying? And I had wanted to open up a business kind of within the historical martial arts realm, like pretty much making Larabin accessible to everybody. And it's still a dream that I have. I'm working on getting there. And you know, I had wrote the first book, The Road to Resistance, and it was, you know, it took me 3 months. And what ended up happening is, you know, I just wanted to put myself in a situation where it's like, what would I do? What would my friends do if this is where we were? Right. And I didn't really think I wasn't going to do much with it. I tried the traditional route. I tried to query and do all of the things that you're supposed to do as an author. And that shit was hard and depressing and degrading. And I will never forget, you know, hitting up Kensington because they had this new imprint, supposedly Rebel Base. And I was like, yo, this is where I belong. This is where my story needs to go. Dude was like, yo, I love this. But I love my job more. So I'm going to have to say it's a no for me, dog. And then I was just ready to give up. And then I got in an accident and I sustained a traumatic brain injury, a bunch of other stuff. And so I like hid from everybody. I literally lived in like the pantry, right? Because it was like a small confined space, like bad. And so my wife just comes in there one day. She's like, yo, this is what you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just going to hide in the pantry, Chase. She was like, I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? I can't work no more. I could barely walk around the house without busting my ass. And she's like, yo, you wrote a whole book. What you gonna do? And so that kind of started my journey self-publishing. And so really, I just wanted to tell a story. Like I said, I came up with the premise because guns to me is lame, right? I come from a city where, you know, ain't nothing fun, new, or exciting about gunplay. Like I went to bed, I got up to gunshots. Like I remember getting under the bed and getting put in the closet, right? So I fell in love with fantasy because it gave me a place to go that didn't look like home. Like, you know what I'm saying? Those of you that might be older might remember Bridgeport from the news back in the day. They used to call this place Beirut, right? Because it was like that. So yeah, definitely. Like, yo, give me your problematic Lord of the Rings, right? Bring on the Game of Thrones and the stuff that don't look nothing like my hood, bro. Because like that's where I went to escape to, and when I really wanted to stay out of trouble, I went to the library, right? And so it's like when I sat down and I started writing, I was like, what would have gassed me up? What would gas up my friends? Is like, I don't fuck with books because books not for me, right? And so that's where the premise of the Vanguard was born. Like I wanted to serve up something like Red Dawn meets Power meets Game of Thrones, and that's what I did.
Ooh, I find it beautiful that your wife, in your time of darkness and your time of depression, that she pretty much spoke life into you.
Yeah.
And said you can't be here. You have a gift.
Yeah.
And you got a story to tell. You need to be telling it, because if you don't, somebody else will, and that's just gonna make it worse. So she pretty much was like, get up. You need to get up. And you need to get up and you need to put this out there. And that's what I love about that. Everything you just spoke about with fantasy and with sci-fi, and not seeing yourself in like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings or anything like that. That's always what we talk about here, especially when we've seen shows like Lovecraft Country or this latest series, House of the Dragon, where you see the Valerians are the ones that has the strongest army. We have the strongest steel. You can't do nothing without us. They got the biggest dragons, so it's just like,
yep.
Seeing us in those spaces, Rings of Power. That's another one. When Rings of Power, when the dwarf princess literally sang life to bring back the ones who were trapped in those mines. It was just like, that's what we're looking for. That's what we're asking for. That's what we've been trying to say. Is like, we're here, so when I hear things like this, stuff like about your story and everything, this is dope.
Thanks.
Like, this is what we've been looking for forever. Watchmen with Regina King being the lead and being a badass doing it. Seeing us in those scenes. We need that.
Yo, Regina King is why I choreographed every single fight scene. Right. And so when you pick up a Dread and Glorious Kingdom, like, I show it to you face to face so you can see, like, it's a big book. Right. And so what I did was I took the first 3 books of the series and I wrote 2 new books. And one was like a book of backstories and side missions that I interspersed with the first 3 books. And then there is Chronically Unbroken, which I sneak in there at the end. And it was like I choreographed every single fight scene because I wanted that kind of vibe. Right. And so I paid close attention to brothers like Damon Stith from the Historical Martial Arts Association. And them brothers just showed me so much love, like, and they just embraced me all through my writing process. And like, really, I couldn't have done it, without their support, because really I studied everything he had out there to learn and to teach. And I tried to make it live on every page. And it's like, they tell us they didn't even have swords in Africa, bro. Right? That's what they'll try to tell you. Like, we didn't even have swords in Africa. And so I made it a point that down to the style of armor, the weapons they use, and there's even like a whole section in the book where Cassette, the main character, kind of goes off this rant, like, yo, I changed the names. I give things African names. We're out here using African weapons for a reason. Because for thousands of years, for hundreds of years, we've been trying to emulate the West and how that worked. Right. And just because what we have might be different doesn't make it deficient. Right. And so it's like, I just tried to pour that in. You know what I mean? Like, it's my love letter to Black culture, to blurred culture. And I just, I did my best to really, really, really give us a home and a place and a fandom that's for us, that nobody could take away, and nobody could say, hey, you can't cosplay that. Right? Because it was intentionally designed for you. Right? And a lot of the characters are based off of people I know, you know what I'm saying? And just people that made an impact in my life, because I wanted it to live. And when people pick it up, I wanted my people and really everybody to see themselves reflected in the book. And so, that was the intent.
Kira, you
that's super dope.
Oh, that's TJ. Okay. Hey, go ahead, TJ.
Oh no, I just said that's so dope.
Thank you.
I was gonna ask you. Of the guests that we've had on recently, I've been trying to think of what to ask y'all. I know that you have the drive to put your baby, your idea out there. And I guess my question is, what, outside of just your passion to get this made, what kept you going even when you were getting the no's, outside of your wife, obviously? Like what was the one thing that said, okay, I've got this, I can keep going off of this, I can keep that momentum going, even if I get some, something else sets me back? What else is there that's out there that's going to make me want to continue this no matter what?
To be real, when I first started writing, right, it was before the accident. My mom had cancer. My sibling's father, the guy that gave me his name and kind of stepped in there and filled the gap when my own pops wouldn't, he was dying, right? My oldest sister was sick, right? My wife was pregnant with my daughter and she was high risk. I didn't know if either one of them was gonna make it. So the real world just sucked. Like even work, like half of the production team went down. And so my machine was running like 78% of production. So like life's just sucked. And I just started writing and it was like, yo, I can control this world. Like, ooh, some crazy shit happens. Ooh, I fixed it. You know what I'm saying? It's like video games. Like it might be a pain in the butt and you might wrestle with it, but at the end of the day, it gives you that sense of completion. And so I started writing and then, sort of in that emotional space. And then now, I can say since the accident, I'm not the same writer. Like I write differently. My imagination works differently. But what I can say is now it's like a bug, right? So I'll get anxious when I have it written and there's stuff in there cooking. Like I'm currently working on like 4 projects right now, just simultaneously.
Man,
like
I love this.
Here, a little bit there, just trying to do different things because like I hit a reading slump, I'm starting a new book. It's just what I do. Like once I hit a point where 3 days of looking, I can't find nothing I want to read, right? Nah, it's time to write what I'm missing. And I encourage everybody to do that. Right? If you're looking around, like my mama was a Panther, right? And my uncle used to always say this thing. We'd be like, stop bitching and start a revolution. Right? So that's my philosophy. It comes down to it. It's like, listen, I could either complain about the vacuum and come with the SDE neckbeard energy because I'm mad because I don't see myself, or I can see myself and create what I see. And that's
I need that on a t-shirt.
That's like, what's up.
For me, it has to be done. Like if I go like a couple weeks without writing, it's literally because I overdid it and my brain need a break for a little bit. Like I think last time I really took a break, I ghost wrote a project and I did it. I cranked it out in like a month. And so it's like, I felt like a car where the tires have been run down to the tread. I just needed to sit for a minute. But other than that, there's always something up.
Let the wheels cool off.
Yeah, had to let it cool, rest the jets a little bit.
So, when did you realize? You said it was. When did you realize you could write like you could? Because you seem to be pumping out like just boom, 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 and I like just looking at that book. I'm like, oh yeah. This isn't a 15, 16 page comic with the ads. You sitting down with this one. You sucked in.
I got y'all with 20 years of content. If I actually get to sit down and write, I swear to God, that's on my kids.
Nice. Can you hold that book up again?
Oh, Lord, don't hurt yourself.
Yo, legit, I seen it. I got a sword that don't weigh as much as this book. It's like 2.5 pounds.
That's
good material.
Reading, though. That's good reading material. Listen, like I'm not like a super avid reader, but when you said you wrote a book and then you held up, I was like, that's the Bible. Like what is
this man wrote a saga.
You wrote the New Testament and the Old Testament in one shelf.
I ain't mad. I'm not mad at you, Chase. That is when you can hold up a book that looks thicker than a cookbook and the yellow pages put together.
already that to me that just screams a story. That's like that is a complete story that just has to be read. And I like books like that because that's kind of, I ain't gonna lie, that's how I judge most of the books I usually read. Like for stuff outside of anime and comics, you know, listen to you. It's like you hear authors tell about the stories they write, and you hear people who are telling something that's more. And that's kind of the vibe I get from you. Is like I said, me having your book on my other monitor, I'm still reading it as you're talking, but you literally put so much you put thought, you put direction, you talked about fight choreography. And again, it's like you can tell most people write a story, but most people are just writing what's already, I mean, you're putting your soul on paper, and I like stories like that. So yeah, that's what I'm getting from you, man. Just from one kindred martial arts fan to another, it's just like I get that.
Yeah,
the fact that you're putting the energy and the effort into giving these characters backgrounds and the backgrounds to the fighting styles and just everything, and then you're using the environment around you as the base. Like, not every writer really does that. You know, good ones do. You know, you have your Stephen Kings and everything. They're like, yeah, there's a reason why these people go where they go and give you these thick, dense stories. This is one of those stories. I'm like, yeah, I'm engulfed in this right now. I need to. I can't go. I need to finish this chapter we got to go. Let me finish this chapter real quick.
And that's how it was when I was writing it. Like I would be running my machine. Like I used to run a CNC lathe, right? And it's spinning. Like, and I'm gonna keep it a brick with you. The whole time I was in school to be a machinist, I was like, Lord, please don't let me get a job with the lathe. This machine is sketchy. It's the devil. All of them are possessed. I'm terrified of them because to me, you're just playing with too many aspects of physics at one time. But the one I had, like, you know, it's about the size of an old school laptop computer, right? And I used to drill precision micro orifices. I actually shout to O'Keefe Controls. Like, we got parts in space, y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's dope. And it'd be like, damn, I gotta hurry up and run this job before I forget. Like, I pause the job. Let me write this down real quick before I forget. Because it's like I couldn't stop writing it. Like, it was like I'd wake up out my sleep, like, nah, this happens. And the first book, the Road to Resistance Part 1, the Road to Resistance Part 2, there's no outline. Like the story just kind of I pants both. Like it started as one book. When I got published, we split it, right? And I pants the entire thing. And then the World We Made, because my brain worked different, there was definitely like outlines and then outlines for the outlines. And so like when y'all pick it up, it has a different sort of vibe. And you know, well, you'll see when you get to that part, like word, you know what I'm saying? You'll see the different things I did. But like, yeah, now I'm pleased to see that, you know, it makes me happy. I ain't just quit, right? It reminds me that more than just to be here for my kids, like there's a reason why I didn't die that day. You know what I'm saying? And that it's an honor, and it keeps me going knowing that something I write can touch somebody else's life. You know what I'm saying?
I do have a question.
Go ahead, TJ.
I'm in the bottom. Hi. So first, I just want to thank you for showing up as your authentic self, because I think a lot of people, from their agents to the people they're surrounded, you know, they have a gift, but somebody sees another vision for them and they don't go their way. And what you said about, you know, I wanted to see us in this space just kind of resonated with me. So I really appreciate that. So my question is, outside of your books, like, where do you see this going? Do you see like making visuals for these, or like directing, or do you see it being turned into like something that would be on, you know, HBO, or you know, you have directorial dreams, or are you just really sticking to like, maybe I would write the script or be the director, but I don't, you know, I want to be behind the camera? Like, where do you see this going? Or do you just like love writing and you just want to be a writer, an author?
With the Vanguard, there's three things. Like the first thing I love to see is a lyric based on the series, right? And I actually designed a lyric based on the series. So because like we don't have black lyrics, and it's just something that we don't got.
Right.
We don't have a lot of black Ren fairs, right? And so the lyric by design kind of combines like player versus player with like bizarre mode sort of things and misses matches the two. And so even if like of course I'd love for there to be a movie, really a show, a series, because I'd like for I don't want nothing rushed. Like if you're gonna do it right. And I'd like to see there to be a black director and for their effort to cast people as they're written because it was written intentionally. The main character is Afro-Indigenous. His wife is Afro-Indigenous, right? And that's something that only happens in America.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you can't be Afro like my family come from Copiah County, Mississippi. Tahatasia Hoke, like my grandmother and them were born in the Choctaw Nation, right? And so it's like that's only in America. That's only us, right? That's the kind of thing that we as African Americans lack, right? Is a uniquely African American hero, right? And so anything that's going to preserve that. Right, I'm all for it. I'm here for it. But I definitely would like to see like a lyric pop off. I would love to see a show based on the Vanguard series. And what I've done is I started a sort of like a side arc of content where it's based around the events, but it's this group of actual brothers who are from Cassette's hometown, and their life changes after the revolution and the Vanguard starts. And so, they want to go follow the king, but they got, elders to take care of and children to take care of. So they can't go off on the warpath with Cassette. And so they find a way to serve the kingdom in their own ways. So I've created these arcs. So maybe I can get an animated show popping off for the people that really like stuff like that. I'd love something live action. And then, like I said, if I don't do nothing else with it, like I just love to see a Vanguard lyric event at least just one time to see the black and silver of the Vanguard. You know what I'm saying? As I ever envisioned it, with the lyric weapons going ham and having fun, like that would just make my life. And so
I think it's
no, go ahead.
I think if something like that popped off, like that would be. I think it would go wider and broader than what you probably could even envision, because I literally stopped what I was like. That's why my camera's off, because I'm doing 50 things, but like everything's off, the lights off, the TV's off. I'm like, oh shit, this is dope. So like I just listening to you, the passion that you have to speak about it, and the description that you talk about it, and then hearing Will talk about how descriptive it is, and the guys are reading it. I'm like, okay, I need to go ahead and pick this up. But if it's as interesting as just your conversation, I think that having a series pop off for a lyric, that would just be amazing. I hope, and I wish that for you. So
inshallah, from your lips to God's ears, like I hope, because if not just for me as a content creator, like I got a 10-year-old son, and right now Disney control everything it means to be a little boy right now. Right, whether for real, you can't be no kind of kid. Remember, you could be a Marvel kid, right? You be Star Wars kid, you could be into different stuff, and it was like you were on different continents, bro. Now one channel, legit Disney defined what it mean to be a little boy. Like that ain't cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so if I could just put that in the culture, and even if it's not my project, right? If I inspire the next creator that does something to really shift the culture and to give us that FUBU vibe, but in media, like I did my work.
When I hear you describe, the Vanguard and the world surrounding it, I look at AMC and I said, see, we didn't need 12 years of The Walking Dead plus these spinoffs no one asked for.
Hey, wait. Maybe I did ask for him a little bit.
Just a little bit. We need this because as you're describing it, I'm playing it in my head. Like I'm envisioning everything in my head. And I'm just like, I would want this series. It wouldn't care about nothing else.
Right.
Because everything else is canceled any damn way. But I'm like, I need to see the Vanguard series. You know, I need to see the spinoff series. I need to see the offshoot when you're talking about the brothers. And like, these are worlds, like the Lord of the Rings does that, where they had the 3 main books, but then you still had these little offshoot stories. And then like, I need those stories, you know, because to me, they all connect. There's a connection there, you know.
Yeah, if I could get it to the point where it's like Star Wars is, where you know they be like, "Yo, you want to write a Star Wars book? Let me see what you got." Right, and if it's canon, let's add it to the universe and let's build it because it's worldwide, right? And so the first book comes from Cassez's perspective and the people around him. But once again, this is the whole world cast back into the Dark Ages, right? And so I try to bounce around different places, show you what's going on in England and you know, and later books, you know, stuff that like only my wife and some of my close friends know. Like I bring in a lot of stuff. Like there's characters I'm in love with that are just still in the outline, man, because there's so much I'm trying to do. And so it's like I would love to bring on somebody like, hey man, you know, I got a dope idea for a Vanguard story. Like, boom, let's rock out. Because there's enough room for everybody. I've read 1,000 books in the last 15 years, right? So, you know, one author just, you know, it ain't all just James Patterson, right? Like, nah, you know, there's enough imagination out here for everybody.
No, I get it. Just because that's why I said I really love your concept because it's like Chris said. I mean, when you first start thinking about it, it's like, well, it's just like it would be like, what if it's like take the apocalypse setting, which you did, and take it in the sense of you're not going to a far off location. You're not going off to, you know, Timbuktu or any other place or any other made up place. You literally took something familiar and said, what will we do in this situation? And I think that's the part that's to me is the red velvet cake connection of it all, because you built layers upon that. And I say that honestly,
that's a good way to put that. The velvet cake connection.
It's a red velvet cake because I'm on chapter 5 right now and I've only been reading for 10 minutes. But but no, I'm saying this because the way you've leveled it out, and again, I'm not spoiling anything, but the way you've leveled it out so far, like in the first 4 chapters I read, it's red velvet cake. I like the way that you layered on. You didn't immediately just go for the throat. You sat there and you literally laid the groundwork to the point to where it's like, as you're introducing characters, as you're describing everything, it is literally, and I love stories like that where, like Chris said, if you can close your eyes and you can immediately picture that place, that is a sign of great story writing. And in your case, I could see that in a television series. I'm like, yeah, give me a Walking Dead setup with that type of storyline, and you have a series to the point to where, yeah, it would work, especially with the given avenues right now of creativity and of directing and of sets and things of that nature. Like, I'm not gonna lie, if you told me the next day Tyler Perry called you up and said, I would love to make this into a series, I mean, at that point, it's like there's the pipe. I mean, talking resistance, yeah, that's all well and good, but
as long as he works on the wig game, I'm like, look,
yeah, the wig game, the wigs. There's got to be room in the wig budget because you don't need somebody's hair looking like mine right now. That's all I'm trying to say. You don't need somebody's hair looking like mine, right?
I got the post-pandemic hairline going on.
I will take your hairline over a Just for Men before picture right now. So
wow.
I'll put it that way. But no, man, it's just like I love stories like that because I think, and again, would be so perfect to see that type of different genre because we're so used, let's be honest, we're so used to, and this isn't a knock on, like we've seen The Best Man, we've seen Girlfriends, we've seen Girls Trip, and there's nothing wrong with those movies, but we don't see too many stories like yours becoming series or movies or weekly episodics to where, you know, you will bring people in. And that's the big thing that you harped on was the fact of, you know, you do this as an example to not only show your children, but to show others and inspire us to say, hey, we can do this just as well as anybody. And you never know, you might inspire the next one. So I get the mission behind that. But yeah, just like to see said. Just to see that in television form would be, I think it would be the next
next stage. It's the next stage.
And I going through all this, I wanted to also say, like, Hollywood is desperate for original ideas, and they can't get themselves out of the vicious circle that they're in of just revamping, rebooting, redoing a prequel to a reboot of a sequel that happened 10 years ago. They're stuck, and they're not looking in the obvious direction. You don't know anything about
the talent is massively there. Like,
like the stories are there. You just don't want to hear them. If you gave us a chance to tell you something, you might A, learn something, B, you might be interested, and you might open up your own imagination back to your own tired, played out stuff. But outside of that,
you might make a lot of money.
You might make a little bit of cash.
Right. Well, see, here's the thing, because it's funny that you mentioned what you mentioned earlier about, you know, we've seen The Best Man. Yes, we know we can name a slew of romance movies with black leads. We can name those all day. We need the sci-fi. We need the fantasy. We need the adventure. We need the spy thriller. We need the horror movie where we kick ass and live. We need these stories because we fit in those spaces too.
Yeah.
So when you have something like this, like I'm like, oh yeah, let's take this to a movie. A movie's great. Right now, I need this as the series.
Right.
I need the series because if you, like I said, if you can give us that many seasons of Walking Dead, you can give me just as many seasons of The Vanity.
I don't mean to interrupt. I think Abbott Elementary just swept the Golden Globes.
They did.
Nice. Yes, they did. That's what I was watching.
I was getting ready to announce it. I was going to announce it later.
I'm sorry.
No.
I was like,
you're doing it just like I'm doing it.
I'm sorry.
It was a queen. That's why I was saying, like, the talent is there. If you've seen the winners, like from tonight, just tonight, just tonight from the Golden Globe, and let me just announce them. Let me get them out the way.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to take away. I'm so sorry.
we got Janelle Monáe winning for Best Supporting Actress for Glass Onion.
Nice. Yes.
Okay. We have who else? Danielle Deadweiler accepting for breakthrough performance for her role in Teal with from Tamron Hall. We have Angela Bassett, of course. We have Tyler James Williams for Best Supporting Actress at Abbott Elementary. Quentin Brunson, Best Actress in TV Series. Golden Globe. Let me see. She joins Tracy Ellis Ross, Debbie Allen, and Diane Carroll as the only black actresses to win for Best Actresses in TV Series.
Wow.
We have Zendaya winning for Best Actress in a TV series, in a TV series, musical, or comedy. The talent is there. So to say we don't know what else to do, let's start here. As not colonize it. Just say, hey, we'll mention Tyler Perry. We have black directors. We have black animators. Shout out to We Are Martian B. We have people who's worked on Black Dynamite in the Boondocks. All right, made visuals for Meg Thee Stallion. So we have the talent. we have the skill set, we have the gifts, we have we have the content.
Yeah.
You know, like Chase, you writing Bibles right now.
Right.
You got at this point, you got George R.R. Martin beat right now. You
got that was my whole plan. my plan is to have 10 books done before this next book of his come out. Like y'all might really
you gonna hit that mark easy. You gonna hit that mark real easy.
So I don't see the reason why, and like Kira said, there, you have Hollywood running out of ideas. I'm like, how do you run out of ideas for imagination? It's where you limit what you want to see.
Right. It's where they're choosing not to look.
Right. I was like, meanwhile, we got Jason Michael Primrose, who does 2050Z. We got Chase Bolling, who's doing the Vanguard series. We have these writers out here who's putting a foot in people's asses, and nobody sees it.
That's why we got. That's why we have to be our own. We have to be as it has been in history, as it is now. We have to be our biggest. We have to be. I hate saying advertisers. We have to be our biggest mouthpieces. We have to be
our advocates.
I'm sorry.
We cannot compete with each other when there's room at the table for everyone.
There's enough imagination out here for everybody. Listen, I love medieval fantasy and historical fiction, right? If I could tell you how many different times I have read The Battle of Crecy, or how many times I've read Agincourt, or how many times I've read Hastings, right? Because I like stuff like that, right? Like I live for the Steel Wall. So, right, and I read it and I enjoy it. And sometimes I'll stop, I'll be like, bruh, it's like you went to Wikipedia and it'd be dry, right? It gotta be good, right? But the fact of the matter is, like, we can't step outside. Like, and that's why I tell people all the time, like, Charles Saunders, so important for what he did with Emerald, right? And it's like, that was the very first time in my life that somebody had told me, because my older brother was like, I'm gonna get you this book, it's called Emerald. I was like, well, what's that? He's like, it's like Black Conan. I was like, oh man, that's cool, right? And he could never find the book, right? And so he passes away, and so I go raid his stash. I'm thinking, like, you might have this book in here somewhere, you stingy bastard, right? And so he ain't had a book, but no cat. Years later, on his birthday, I opened up my Kindle app. And what do I see sitting there in my recommendations? But Emerald, right? And so Emerald led me to Milton Davis, right? And Balagan Ojatade, who's like, them brothers have written some, like, my favorite books. Like, if you've never read Changa Safari or Beneath the Shining Jewel, which to me stands as the gold standard of Black horror fantasy ever written, like, I don't think anybody's ever topped it. I'll die on that hill. Like, you can't argue with me until you read the book, right? Like, you can't argue until you read the book, and then you be like, oh, you know what, Chase, I'm gonna die on this hill with you because this was fucking crazy, bro. It's like, it opened it up, and it's like, yo, you can't expect. It's like, just like we can't expect a handful of Black leaders to lead all 16 million of us to the promised land, right? We can't expect the same handful of authors to do the same thing. And I think the real problem is there's too many authors that look like us that are too comfortable being the only Black kids in the room. Right? And so it's like, listen, like, that's why I love Milton Davis to death, because anytime
I'm about to pass the collection plate. You is preaching, sir.
Thank you. Like, I'm just speaking to how I feel, because it's
that's fact.
Like, I was a rapper for a long time, right? And so what do rappers do, right? You kind of get tired, bro. So you be like, yo, my boy can rap too. Listen to what he got, so I can go sit down, right? And so it's like, but that doesn't extend to the bookish community,
right?
Right? Like, there's not a lot of established Black authors, like Colston Whitehead.
Isn't it? But it's because they let one get it.
Yeah. But that doesn't stop you from writing the cover blurb.
No.
That doesn't stop you from buying and posting on your feed other books by Black creators, because now you have a platform. And even if you might be on a plantation platform, you can still do what you can. It don't cost nothing to write a review.
I mean, that's the
what? Shout out to people like, I'm glad he mentions that, because shout out to people like Sister Sci-Fi on IG. They will share female Black writers or writers of color from sci-fi and fantasy and comics every day. So I know exactly what you're saying, because there's room. I mean, we can't say it enough. There's room at the table. Society has taught us to be competitive when it's not necessary to be so.
And I mean, listen, if you want to be competitive with writing the best book you could write, cool. But let's not gatekeep.
Exactly.
That part.
Because otherwise, how you know your book even that good, bro? If you didn't cut everybody else out the way, then did you really compete? That's like poisoning everybody for the combine and running a 5 flat. Like, yeah, I was the fastest.
But you hit the nail on the head though, right there. It is amazing. That's why it never ceased to amaze me that when, like Kira said, one author comes up, and you would think, because I believe in once you get to a certain point, once you are established, like you said, like hip hop used to be in the early 90s, probably almost into the 2000s. When one rapper got on, what did he do? Brought on his boy.
Jay-Z gave us Memphis Bleak. We might not ever forget a man for it, but it happened. So
that broke my line of thought on that one.
You ain't lying though. I mean,
my bad.
No, you good.
I went through my windshield. I don't have a chill no more. I left that in the car with the rest of the Sandy when they pulled me out.
Oh no, you good. It's just like you said. It amazed me so where they have this platform, and it's like, hey, you want something? Hey, this person just came out. This book is what they did. This is what it's about. Give it a shot. Read it. Let him know what you think, or let her know what you think. Or hey, it's never been this. I hate to go back to a Game of Thrones reference. It's never been a Hodor mentality. Like we never. It's like you rather close the door and nail it shut than hold it open.
Yeah,
and that's what and that's like I've never understood that. It's like if you get on, then help others get on, because it has always been more. What's more rewarding? The fact that it's just like, case in point. I'll do quick. Like say track and field. We couldn't run track and field for the longest time. 2 Black people get into it. Now we dominate the sport.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point,
but I think that's their fear.
Yeah. And that's what, and I'm not saying that's the general fear among the opaque and rice cake warrior people. That, let's be honest, historically it's always been that. Whenever we get into something, we dominate. Paul Mooney said it best. Whenever we get in, we dominate. That's what he kept on saying. Wait till we figure out swimming.
Wait till we
learn to ice skate.
What are you
look, we already taking over,
skating, right?
We taking over gymnastics. They was like, oh, they never gonna touch golf and tennis. Well, shut that down.
Right.
So,
all they have left is NASCAR, and I'm just waiting for the black
in that door. They already got a sister and a brother that's doing that right now.
I need one more. I need one more than a man named Bubba. That's all I'm saying. Because first time I saw him, like Bubba Watson, I was like, I'm having to close my eyes and like, of all the names you can have, you gotta be
Bubba Watson.
Well, you got. I'm not mad at the brother because he's doing his thing, but for the soul, why did your name have to be Bubba?
Right.
Because, bro,
for the culture.
You said it all.
Depending on where you come from, you need that non-threatening Black name.
I mean, you're right. You're right, because he couldn't roll through there with M'Baku.
No,
but it shouldn't be like that. No. It shouldn't be like that. Like, we should be able to occupy any space, however we are. So I mean, I understand what y'all saying, but he should have been able to come as M'Baku and like the best fucking M'Baku in NASCAR. You know what I'm saying?
You know what?
They might mess his name up a couple times, but they gonna get it right. You know,
They would have got it right. Yeah, they would have got it right. Them sponsors definitely would have got it right.
As long
But
as
that's what I'm saying.
as
But that's
long
what I'm
as
saying as far as
right,
literature goes, though, because literature is that next level. To me, literature is like that next level to where there's how many black authors can you say successfully made it as far as selling and writing multiple books and getting buzz and things of that nature. That's where the next thing for us, I think it is, where
I mean,
not just the literature of drama, because there's plenty of books out there where it's always about drama and jail, all that stuff. But like you said, go into the world of science fiction, go into the world of fantasy, go into the worlds that for a lot of people they'll be like, black people love sci-fi? Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, we do like
Like,
sci-fi.
It was just never for us before.
Right. Why you think we rally like we did around Sam Jackson when he showed up his Mace Windu? And we still hold that candle. Like, come on.
You still can't find a purple lightsaber around his mug. Like,
no, you ain't lying.
Like, I've tried.
I don't know about that.
Well, yeah, Kira got one.
Kira got
one. You gonna give me
But,
mine?
I mean, you think about it, like Will said, Paul Mooney said it best. Whatever we get in, we 80s and 90s, we dominated television, sitcoms, television shows. We ran that.
Yep.
You know, okay, we know what we do. Like now, let's. What's the actor's name from Frank's Place? That was the father, Tim Reed, the father from Sister. He was behind that. Robert Townsend, he was behind all of that. Opening the door for these other black actors and comedians. Let's open this door and get these people in here because there is a talent there that's not being shown, that's not being seen, because they understood what it meant to be like, hey, I don't need these people to put me on. And I'm gonna just say like Seinfeld. I don't need Seinfeld to put me on. I'm gonna put myself on. And then when I'm done, I'm gonna put the Wayne brothers on. And then what the Waynes do, they put their whole family on.
All 14 of them.
Generation upon generation.
Like they working on the second generation right now. Like
third. I'm pretty sure there's a great niece out there that's a stand-up comedian.
If it's not a son or daughter, it's a niece or nephew. So they're putting them on, and that's how it should be. Not just family, but that's how it should be. When you open this door and you see these greats coming in the door. Harlem Nights is a prime example of putting your people on. Man, Hollywood Shuffle is a prime example of putting your people on. Yep. Right. We will never, granted, we'll probably never see another not a Hollywood show. We'll probably never see another Harlem Nights because that was the pinnacle. That was the like, whoa.
You'll never see that.
You have 4 generations of comedians plus the 5th one coming up. Like, come on.
That's because black comedians back then were halfway gangsters anyway.
Yeah, they had
to run back in the day.
Della wasn't acting. She was not acting.
No, she was not acting. Like they put in work, you know.
Rest in peace, Della Reese.
Oh man. So when you see, not just in acting, not just in comedy, not just in sports, but you need to see, like, we're seeing it behind the camera now. With Ryan Coogler and Jordan Peele. We're seeing it in the books now, with people like yourself and Jason Michael Primrose and the women that's over at Sister Sci-Fi that's getting premiered, because there's a ton of them. We're seeing they're coming out more and more, and it's like all you can do is look at the other side and said, look, we weren't even trying to compete with you, but because you held us back.
Look at all this greatness we've been saving, just unleash on that.
Right.
So now we're getting ready to smack you over the head with it, because now we got superheroes. The next generation of Avengers are people of color. And you can't stop it.
And that's the beauty part.
It's gonna be glorious. Fanboys and the neck beards gonna be so mad.
The next takeover. That's why I say the next takeover is going to be.
Wait till Sam shows up.
Sam
Wilson shows up.
It is.
When New
It is
World,
going.
I already said. I'm like,
all black.
They're so mad. They're gonna be so. I'm like, they're gonna be so mad.
Yeah, but you know what though? This is what I'm gonna say. If I could keep it a brick, right? I am tired of you black facing white characters for my money. Right. And so it'd be one of the things where I'll be on the fence as to whether or not I'm gonna support this shit. Because you can give me a black Superman, but no, it's corny. Why not go get me something?
Especially the way they say it.
Yeah, like why not go get me something native produced?
Where's my icon? Where's my icon?
They will never do icon as much as they should. Icon and Rocket should literally be the next ones up, and Static should be right behind it. The problem with Icon is, what do you think? What is Icon? Literally makes Superman look small compared to his abilities and his story, and he's actually got more. He's got more story arcs than Superman does.
Yeah, his power set is better.
Yeah. But think about this. But it's like Chris said, it's the thing about it. They just don't. They just don't want. It's like I never understood why they just didn't want to. I mean, because when I first read Icon, I'm like, okay, and then Icon, and of course those characters got picked up by DC, and I'm like, DC has been sitting on 8 to 10 different characters that they literally could produce and do a universe off of, but the problem is none of them are white, and they will not push it.
Yo, here's the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a whack mediocre rapper, right? But I got the clout and the pull. I have the infrastructure, right? I had the means of production. I could sign whoever the competition is and shove their ass. And I control the market. Right. And it's one of those things where it's like, you know, this is why they'd rather blackface a character. Why? Because when it doesn't make any money, they're busy trying to prove diversity isn't profitable. Right. And just so far it hasn't worked. You haven't been able to piss off enough racists to outspend the black people. And the problem is, in order to effectively argue, you got to check some shit out before you could tear it down, or you have no argument. Because nobody likes a troll, no matter what side of the aisle you stand on.
That's
right. So, no matter what, it's gonna make money. But eventually, you know, they're gonna try to restart the breeding war or something so they could tip it back over the other way. And they're like, oh no, we tried, and it just didn't make us any money. Just forget about Black Panther and everything else that happened in the early 2020s. That was pandemic money. That didn't count. Right.
Right. It's always something. It's always something.
Yeah. It's the funny part that you mentioned that, because they tried to do that with Wakanda Forever. They tried to do that with the first two weekends. Saying that, it dominated for almost a month and a half. Yeah. And they try to say it didn't bring in the numbers, and that and granted, these were outside the US. These are outside the US interviews. They sat there and said, well, you know, for it to be a primarily diverse cast, it didn't do well. I'm like, to who? Because
what math
are y'all doing? Because and here's a prime example of that. China said, oh, we're not going to show Black or Wakanda Forever because of a 2-second scene. And now today the news comes out that because they're so picky about what gets released over there, they're hurting on their theater money is not as strong. I'm like, that's because y'all chose the wrong path.
Yeah. Why can't you brainwash and subliminally message like America and let us have what we want rather than censorship?
That's always been Chinese markets. I mean, they always wanted to control what their population sees. But it's still, like I said, it's still my hope that I would still love to see. I would still love to see an Icon movie. I would still love to see Blood Syndicate. I would still love to see Hardware. I still love to see Static. I would love to see those particular heroes come to the screen. Now, do I think it's going to happen under Gunn's watch? Maybe not initially, because like I said before, it's going to take somebody.
It's a shit show over there anyway.
DC as much as I love DC, you're right. It is the biggest load of caca this side of a horse trial. You're right.
Can I ask you a question, Will? You said you love DC, right?
Yeah.
Now I can't my siblings was on the comics, right? I played football and doing all of that, and I didn't have the time to get into it. So I'm playing catch up, right? But everything I read about how DC treats its black artists and writers
is 100% true.
How can that's how do you deal with that? Because I know I struggle being a Black Tolkien fan, knowing this man imagined everything but black people, right? Everything but black people, right? And so it's like, cool, whatever. So how I make my excuses for it, but how do you as a DC fan, how do you cope with that? Knowing full well anybody that look like you can't even live. Bro.
The problem with that is that as a kid you don't really consider that, but as you get older and you start
you see it
and you start really pulling back the curtain, it's like, because there was a documentary about 6 years ago about artists in comic books, and every black artist sat there and said that a black comic book artist wasn't considered a DC until 1985. And the only reason this particular man, I gotta find the documentary. The only reason that particular artist at the time was iconic was because he actually redesigned Batman. The same Batman that is currently
the Michael Keaton Batman.
No. This was it was a rip off the Michael Keaton Batman, but eventually it became the Batman the Animated Series. They never gave the artist credit for it. And so ever since then, it's like everybody kept saying the same thing. Well, DC gave me an opportunity, but I didn't get treated as well as said other artists, or even black writers that wanted to write for DC didn't get it. Even some of their scripts got plagued, some of their scripts got taken, some of their scripts got all this. Yeah, it's a whole horror show.
Yeah, bogus performance reviews getting written up for I read that article and I was just like, they'll never consciously get another dime of my money.
They screw their artists, and it's just not in the comics. All right, let's look at their movies.
Yep.
I remember when Justice League first dropped, and one of the articles they came out with was about Cyborg. And this is our first person of color on the big screen. Where is he now? Because he blew the whistle. I said it. I made the TikTok. Y'all seen it. I made the TikTok. He blew the whistle on a toxic work environment. However, the Reverse Flash,
Ezra Miller's still employed.
Is still employed at this point. But still, whether they fire him or not,
and helped. Let's not
help.
Helped
him.
To stay.
You let him come back to do reshoots while the government was looking for him.
Wait, time on. So Ezra Miller was actually really out here kidnapping people, right? Like little native girls and stuff like.
So this was the story. When he was in Florida, when he was in Hawaii, the people's house that he broke into were people he had known for years. I kept I'm like, he broke into the same people's house. That sounds weird. And it turns out they had a daughter, and he had known the girl since she was, I want to say 14. So she's of age now. She's like 18 or 19. And during his skirmish of whatever was his tyranny run or whatever he was doing, he apparently had kidnapped his woman.
That's super foul.
Yeah.
And so this involved, now the FBI's involved.
Yeah. I remember hearing about this, but I never heard about him going to jail. And it's like, how are you on movies?
He went to jail. He went to
jail for a little while.
He went to jail when he was down there in Hawaii. He went to jail twice. Matter of fact, 3 times.
Got arrested the next year.
Yeah, got arrested on the day he was going to court.
I mean, it's not the fact that he's still employed. It's not the fact that he's still employed, but he's still employable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's still employable. Like, people are still going to throw scripts at him. That's the ridiculous part.
The
but
part
look,
there was that. There's the whole deal down in Vermont. He had a weed farm. There's nothing wrong with you having a weed farm. However, the girl you had there who had young children, you had weapons lying around the house. A 5-year-old put a bullet in their mouth. A bullet that was just lying around the house. Like, dude, they're gonna look at her and you.
And it's questionable. And that's why, and the thing about it is, and to think after all said and done, they're still pushing forward with this movie.
Yeah,
they're pushing forward with the
because it's their profit margin.
Yeah, it's their albatross. They put too much into it. They have to ride with it, sink or swim. They have to ride.
You canceled a $90 million film that people were really wanting, and the only reason why people wanted The Flash is because of Michael Keaton.
Yep.
That was the only reason. Nobody really cared because it's at the point nobody cares. It was, but you know,
Ray Fisher said something, and all of a sudden,
Ray Fisher said, "Yo, this dude back here, he cutting up. He talking about the women. He got these crazy work environment. He changed up the script and made me look stupid. You know, even though I was talking to the previous director that they fired and for no reason, and it was chaos. And then while the FBI is looking for Ezra Miller, he ain't nowhere to be found. All of a sudden, news comes out that he was secretly doing reshoots for The Flash.
If that is not the most messed up TLC, how in the world does this happen story?
No,
and it's 100% true.
America must uphold the right for brown people to be stolen by not brown people. Otherwise, the whole thing just falls apart.
Yeah,
like not America. America.
No.
Yeah, right. Like they got it. Like, oh, wait a minute now. Sometimes you just gotta steal some brown people. He'd be all right. He put it back, right? Like, yo,
he put it back, right? Exactly. He put it back.
But
no harm, no foul, right?
They never got to regulate on it. Like with half-wit grandfathers, that was just a funny weekend at college for them.
But that's the thing about it. Like it's like not a lot of people know, because I know we were talking about this sometime last week, that when it comes to writers, when it comes to designers, those that are behind the scenes with these comics and shows and whatnot, they really do get done dirty, and they've been getting done dirty. It's just like now some of them have formed a union, although it's not a complete union like United Auto Workers are, or like your
like Image just formed a union just recently.
Yeah. So it's like they're not all together, but you know, a lot of people don't realize that a lot, especially over at Marvel. I mean, you thought DC was bad. I mean, listen to Marvel. Marvel is that everybody thinks the grass is green on the other side. No, because a lot of graphics artists, when they were working these Marvel movies, said that they had these unrealistic deadlines. They're pushing hours and the pay isn't up there. And I'm like, imagine that you're working when you hear people work for, oh, dude, you work for Marvel, you work for Disney. That's great. Not all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, it really
they doing a job they're passionate about, or they're doing a craft they're passionate about. But how many times have we been online on social media and we seen this artist or this writer now has GoFundMe because their health is bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this person that we have been watching or reading about or seeing and admiring their artwork for decades.
Or where's my $3.99 a week going?
Yeah.
And I know I'm not the only one that's buying this. I know millions of people are buying this. So that's $3 million right there. Why is my man broke?
Yeah.
Because people
why is he up in a hospital sick? And it becomes this beast.
Yeah, publishing, we got to get off of labels, man. Right. And it's like it's one of those things where it's like for a lot of places, like I work in manufacturing, a lot of stuff I know comes from that training, right? So we talk about lean, and everybody benchmarks off of what Toyota does and 5S, because Toyota never was supposed to make cars. They started off making sewing machines. His father said, I'm gonna give you a corner of my factory and just enough resources to fail, right? And if you can make it happen, then you can make cars. And that's what he did. And they developed a system of doing things, right? That's made Toyota, like, I don't care what you sell. You could be making sneakers, bro. You're going to look at Toyota's production process and how they do things, right? In entertainment, we don't look at stuff like that. We hear Marvel, and it just has this thing where like we automatically assume it's gonna be good. Like, yo, newsflash, people Stan Lee dead. Right? So we need to start looking at it as boom. I don't know. I grew up with Fern Gully and all that, right? And it told us that corporations were bad. Right? And so you either want the real art or you want the corporate art. Right? The corporate art is designed to make you broke and enslave your spirit, bro. That's what it's for. That's why the corporation is backing it. And until the fandom and the people that spend their money demand, right? Like, listen, everybody support the Starbucks union. Why? Because you got tired of seeing your favorite barista up there looking like they about to put extra bubbles in your iced coffee, right? So nobody liked that feeling. So everybody was all solidarity with it, right?
Yeah.
Until, you know, right now, as an artist, you don't have the means of production, right? You make the art, but it's really all about the fans, right? And until the fans say, hey, I'm not spending my money till you treat my people better, right? Because I really like this guy, right? And if you're treating him like crap, I'm not going to pay you to treat him like crap. But the company's never going to come to that conclusion on their own. No. Like, that's up to us is the fans and the people that make the fandom to demand, like, listen, we're not going to break bread with you if you mistreat people. Or we just got to give people the opportunity to say, hey, listen, like, we going to blow up your little indie project because it's dope, not because it's got this easily recognizable branding behind it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. It's just like you said, money will always decide whether something halts or goes. The problem with this is the mouse is a monster. DC is a monster. The problem is that they have worked the system so well. I mean, you gotta think comics, merchandising, Disney Plus subscriptions, the networks that they own, especially Disney. I think Disney, I almost want to say, owns 70% of almost every media out there. I want to say 75. But
was it ABC, Disney, Hulu, ESPN, Fox?
Yep.
And that's pretty much the majority of what's on network television right now.
Oh, Funimation. They have Crunchyroll or some parts.
Yeah,
of
they're working. Yeah,
I think they got Funimation, but I wouldn't be surprised they got Crunchyroll too, because
you get Crunchyroll and Funimation are together now.
Oh, well, in that case,
they made that deal last year, I think it was.
Yeah.
Oh, in that case, the mouse has the gauntlet. The mouse literally has
It's a step away from owning Sony. Like it's just
like a step away. That's why I really thought they were gonna let Simon and Schuster, right, and then go through with that merger. Because I was like, well, nobody stopped Disney from controlling all of entertainment.
They'll waive antitrust laws when they feel like it. Because the funny part is, they waived it with AOL Time Warner, but they didn't waive it. They didn't waive it when the video game acquisitions happened. Yes. Like right now, they're trying to halt Xbox buying Activision.
Well, this is why. You ever look at how much United States military stuff gets advertised through video games?
Oh yeah.
Right.
That's how they do it right there.
This is why the NFL couldn't protect their most valuable resource during the kneeling gate, right? Because the Department of Defense was like,
Department of Defense out there.
Do that.
Well, and that you gotta think though, because this is where it benefits the Department of Defense. They pay the NFL buku bucks every year, and the NFL doesn't want to lose money. At the same time, look at your top selling multiplayers. You know, Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, Rainbow Six. I mean, take your pick as you go down. Not even counting the sandbox games, but most of your games that they're involved army based. Most
of your first person shooters, anything
shooters,
yeah.
So it's like, you
as a side note, here's the power of it. After years of SOCOM, right? Y'all remember SOCOM? Right. I come back from school, right, for the summer. What am I doing? What do I want to be? Me and my cousin, we out there rowing boats and trying to swim back to shore because we want to be SEAL pups. Why? Because it's been programmed from the start of puberty to now we old enough to enlist until it came time to get on the boat. I was like, yo, bro, you know,
that's the one time
we got on some boats with some people that didn't look like us. It didn't work out so good. I don't know if I want to be a sailor, bro. Like
that's why I say why I say I can't argue that, because I was the same way. I had two cousins that were in the Army, and of course we all play the same games, like you said. I turned 18. I was about to walk right to the enlistment office. Both my cousins stopped me and said, "No, go to college."
Yeah,
they both stopped me and said, "You will not enlist. Take your behind to college."
Yeah,
I scored so high on the ASVAB test. They didn't stop sending me stuff and trying to get me until after I turned like 32.
I mean, this is why. Yeah, when you almost aged out. Yeah, when you aged out. Yeah,
it's like, all right, you old now.
Once you hit 35,
I mean, that's why you look at. I mean, not just the video games, but look at the toys. I mean, you look at G.I. Joe. Yep. They pushed it to the point where you wanted to join one of the services because you thought you were brainwashed into like, we're gonna be like G.I. Joe.
We're gonna go over there and kill Cobra Commander.
I mean, if you couldn't be a Transformer, you had to be a Joe.
You had to do something. And even that's in a military type.
I just wanted a Gundam, right? That's all I wanted, right? I just wanted a Gundam. Like I just wanted a Gundam. Like, yeah, I signed up for that. Like, they'd have got me for that. Like what you mean mobile suit, sir?
I ain't gonna lie. That
what do you mean exactly? These things can? Oh, they can. Okay, well, I tell you what, rail guns.
Rail guns. Like, yeah, they had me hook, line, and sinker, bro.
Right.
My inner nerd would have been like, nah, we could do this.
Right. So I mean, it just goes to show you exactly what goes on.
Yeah, how deep
beyond
the runs.
Yeah, beyond the veil, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
You know, so
I heard somebody call it a blood ritual, bro, and it's ritual and it don't never change. And I thought they was violent for a second till I really thought about it. And it's like, look, from a Buffalo Soldier to Call of Duty Ghost, bro, how really different is it?
Fair point.
Yo, yeah, I've been pondering that all day. Had me messed up from like 7:30 this morning. Like, damn.
I said the same thing for the longest time. I said every time Call of Duty came out, I said, y'all really willing to spend $60 for the same game?
Yeah.
I said, y'all really willing to down that hill. But
nah, bro. Like, back when I could play video games, like I'm saying, you know, it's funny, I can't play video games no more. You think I would save money, right? Because I'm not spending $80 to download something.
Oh, right? God.
I ain't even getting physical disc no more. It's so disrespectful. It's like there ain't no physical disc. My son was like, no, Dad, you just put the code in. I'm like, this is bullshit.
I don't want the code. I want the disc.
I want the little man that paid the plastic case. Like, there's no way I could justify this now. This is bullshit.
I had my moment. I had that moment where I was like, you know, when you had the case, we had the nice little top shelf, the type shelf where you just had everything in alphabetical order, and you had that white glove treatment, especially for the disc. I was particular. You had the Butler white gloves you had to put on and be like, you know what? We're gonna treat this thing like a 45. You're gonna pull this thing out very nicely. You're gonna make sure it's that's scuffed up. Let me get this ethanol real quick and just go over it ever so nicely before we start playing this. But no, I mean, you're right though. It's the nature of the beast, is what it is. And I mean, I'm glad that we're at the point where we know better now. Like we know better, we see better, we do better for the whole. We hope. So I don't know. It's crazy how we see it, but before we get out of here,
what you guys do is so important, man. Like highlighting blurred culture, right? Because as we see now, it's real popular to be a blurred. I remember when I had to fight niggas about not watching anime that I knew for a fact I watched, right? Like now it's popular. What you mean I watch Naruto? You already 30? Like, what up? You be telling people that shit? Like,
I would tell you when we
closet ones.
The job I used to work at years ago, when somebody had mentioned Goku, they said Goku, and I waited like a week, and then I'm like, yo, you watch Dragon Ball? He was like, yeah, you do, and I'm like, nigga.
Kindred spirits have been found.
And then, like the other dude, we was on lunch break, and I see him pop over in the comic. I'm like, yo.
up?
So,
I'll say this one time and one time alone. There are 3 ways that we can achieve world peace: sports, video games, comic books, and anime.
that's it.
Guarantee you're gonna be. Look, I guarantee in any given situation, there's gonna be at least 4 people you can vibe with off one of those 3 things, or all of them all together.
Until
see,
you tell me
I used to use the argument, like, Chris, you read comics. I'm like, Wu-Tang reads comics. I don't want to hear
it. Like, yo, it used to be like that. Like, yo, when you really like, I think it's cool that my son now can just be who he is and like what he like without no fear. Right? Because you didn't even be hard back in the day, but you had to be hard just in case somebody found out that you played the violin and was good at math and shit. Right? So now you really had to be gangster because you know, and so it's like, yo, this is the power of what we're doing. Right. And as long as, like I said, everybody, like, I had a tutor one time that said you can't jump from the attic to the basement, Chase. That was her famous thing, right? Because everybody used to tell me I was smart. So I took it personally when I didn't understand something, right? Like, I was mad, like big mad, right? And she's like, yo, what do you expect? Like, what do you expect, just to jump from the bottom floor to the top floor without walking up the steps? And so it's like, listen, we want to decolonize everything, right? Tear down the power structures. Nah, it starts in the imagination. Right? What they say, the revolution wouldn't be televised. Why? Because it's here. And so until we start decolonizing imaginations, right, then we can start changing the world. Right? Then we can start really changing the world. Because it's like now, until they say familiarity breeds contempt, right? So it's like once you get used to seeing Black people, right, in places and positions of power and just living their natural Black lives, eventually you will be inoculated to it. Like, you know, you're allergic to dogs. Then you spend 6 months with a dog. Now all of a sudden your eyes ain't itching, your throat ain't itching, and you can breathe. Right? Because, like, yo, you've been introduced to it. And so I think that as long as, like, y'all keep doing what you're doing, right, which providing a platform to people like me, it makes it a lot less thankless to do what we do. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that, man. I mean, that's what I built it for. I built it just for this, you know, to talk about the stuff that we love, but it's from our perspective, you know, and looking at, you know, not just this interview, but hearing the news about the Golden Globes. This is probably the blackest night ever.
For real. For real.
Like it's the blackest night, and it's just mid-January right now. So
you love to see it. You love to see it when it's a
man.
You love to
go
see
to work,
it
go to work with a cigar in my mouth or something. I'm like, what? You didn't hear?
They're not gonna they sure not gonna talk about it at my job, not in front of me. What you want to talk about? Oh, you none of your people?
Oh,
let's see. That's when you see, Kara. That's when you pull a Dave Chappelle and just go in there and just like, you know what? Let's talk about what happened last night and just be ultimately petty.
Oh my God! So before we get out of here, Chase,
yes, sir.
Tell everybody where they can find you. Tell everybody where they can get your book. And by the way, y'all gonna get this book. Y'all gonna get this book.
Please do. I've been vibing a lot on TikTok lately, so y'all can follow me at SFOR the Culture on TikTok, or you can find me on Instagram. Actually, Chase Bolling author. I got a hat. Somebody pretending to be me, so I'm actually Chase Bolling author, not the imposter. And you could definitely. I'm asking everybody to check out the book on Amazon.
Oh, right. It's just the way you said that. It reminded me of a skit from, I don't know if you know who the rap group is, Little Brother, from out of North Carolina. And there's a skit one of them do.
Not the man.
Yeah, it's the skit. He say, he's like, you Roy Lee won. Like, because Questlove was interviewing him. He's like, you Roy Lee won. He was like, no, I'm Roy Lee 8. It was 7 other niggas that got to it before me. So, oh man, but yeah, this Vanguard, a Dread and Glorious Kingdom, man, you need to check this out. Give my man a follow. Actually, Chase Bolling Chase Bolling Author, right?
Mhm.
On IG.
IG.
This I'm telling you, and Will's already reading it, so he's probably halfway through the book. No,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of going back and forth and listening. I'm somewhere in between chapter 7, but you ain't lying. Like I said,
right.
dude, you got a red velvet layer way of storytelling. I really do dig it, but I'm gonna shut up. Go ahead.
So this is dope, and I want you back again because you got all these other books that's coming up. You need to come back to holler that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Anytime, man. I'm always down to come back and vibe. This was fun, man. You know what I'm saying? So I am definitely down to come back. Next project I'm working on is set in the 13th century and is based on the descendants of Fulani Moors who came to fight in Al-Andalus with Yusuf ibn Tashfin. I know they love to swear that we wasn't there, but I've been in some rabbit holes about genetic and the Tufians and Ibero-Masurians and so
I would love to see what sources you cite because I'm a history nut too. If you just point me in the right direction because I want to read about that too myself.
I got you. There's Afro Asiatica, right? It's a website on Blogspot. This sister has done so much excellent.
Right when I need a damn pen. Okay, say that again.
As a matter of fact, if y'all hit me on the gram, I'll send you some links to some stuff that I got entire bookmark folders.
I'll drop it in the chat. I'll drop it in the chat.
Yeah. And I'll definitely put y'all on because I felt like that was something that needed to be told. And so I wanted something like Black Tolkien, right, where we were represented, but still with that real connection to real world history. And so I've been working on that. I'm about 32,000 words deep. So, maybe I'll send a little sample out, a little beta sample before I finish it. Let you see what I'm working with.
Is not playing.
Next up, I got this other joint called the Constellation of Fates. Right? Think Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon meets Star Wars and Don't Look Up.
Nice.
And so
I'm gonna take my glasses off to that one because damn.
Right. You know what? I was sitting here like, damn, how did he come up with these titles?
Excuse me?
He won me over when he said The Last Dragon in the Star Wars, and I'm like,
Last Dragon Star. I like that concept. Has already got my attention.
You had me at 2, but now you got me on a hold at the 3 of them together.
So I've been dipping and dabbling. The last one I'm working on is called The Thing That Ate the White People. And and it trust me, it's not as racist as it sounds, but pretty much nature doesn't eat us with the same alarming regularity that it happens to our lesser melanated counterparts, like sinkholes. And so obviously they must taste better for some strange reason. I think maybe because of the lack of oxidative stress associated with racism. They probably taste better.
That's right up my alley right there.
And so this one is set in the piney woods of West Virginia, where our main character has left the urbanized East to some inherited land because the rent is too damn high. And this is inspired on a real life story because they raised my rent like $1,100 during the middle of the pandemic, right? And so, I wish everybody from New York would just go back where the fuck they came from, please. Now,
say it again.
Go home, go back to your borough. I don't know why y'all move east when you could go west of Pennsylvania and make the Amish shit expensive.
Messing up the traffic patterns in the street. We can't cross the street without people blocking up the whole.
Y'all getting all the bootleggers closed. Everybody going to jail because y'all don't know how to use nothing. Just go home.
Well, I thought you know what? Thank you, Chase. I guess I can't complain now. I can't complain now. I'm good.
I'm working on that. Like that's coming a little slow because I had to be very careful and I wanted to be funny. So it's like
you were already on that page with the title.
That's why I call it that. And it's like, there's a concept title and there's the actual title. And every once in a blue moon, the concept title stick. And so even if I do like somebody pick it up and publish it and call it something totally different, that book will always be called The Thing That Ate the White People, because my brain don't work the way it probably supposed to work, and that's just the only way I'm gonna remember it now. So like, trust me, if I give you a nickname, I swear to God, I ain't being ignorant. I went through my windshield. I'll forget something while I'm doing it. So it's
no, that means your brain is working right, because
your brain is working fine. You good. Your brain's working fine.
Don't worry. The next time you come on, I'll be like, so how's the thing that ate the white people going?
I definitely will have some updates. I need accountability partners, man, because
I just need that on a book. I don't care.
The cover.
I don't care.
I can see Will carrying a book.
I don't care if it's a long story. I just need that.
Right. I can't wait to see the cover. Like,
I will just. It
was giving me 50s vibes, like them old black and white horror 50s television.
Like the thing from the swamp.
Yeah,
right. And really, they was talking about us and trying to be creative about it and shit. But this
right.
White people.
I will start a book club just with that. Start with that book.
Well, today's reading, kids.
That'd be the kids' reading hour. Kids kids gather around. We are now gonna read from The Thing That Ate
the White
People. We always tend to be the savior, right? It's always the strong black friend, the witty black friend. Like, so I wanted to play with the magical Negro trope, right? Because like, what happens when Negroes stop being magical, bro? What happens when we really can't save you?
Ooh.
Like, what happens when you really bite on some more than you can chew, and we just like, yo, I'm sorry, kind of. But
you end up like Roger from Night of the Demons.
What if Roger became a movement? That's right. Roger became a movement.
So like, I definitely want to have some fun with it, because we need more black joy. We too many people make money with black pain, right? And so like that's why I wrote The Vanguard is Black Victory. Like, and I tell it, like, if you don't like my book, then you just like Nazis, right? Like, you gotta go early 2000s Republicans with it, because, like, I mean, what's more cathartic than just,
That's why we cheered like we did every episode of Lovecraft Country.
You know what, man? When that show went off air, I was terrified, right? Because I was like, damn, bro, you mean to tell me we got the black trauma and the black dopeness, and they still couldn't keep it on the air? Right, and Misha Green and them going
with 18 nominations.
You got a history. The history lesson was too much for the expired.
They knowing too much. They finding out too much. It's too much.
That history lesson killed them.
Look, wait, hold on. Here, look at Kira. Kira's face is saying it all. She's like,
the esoteric nature of really what they were doing, right? And if you think about the magical stuff that they were doing, and then throw slavery in the context of this, man, please, they couldn't have let that fucking show run too long.
Right.
We think we're in danger now, bro. Look what happened as a black president, bro. Just imagine what they might do after that, who they might have liked.
Oh, I just remember the Google searches after those first 2 episodes came out, where some people did not believe that sundown towns was a real thing.
What?
Some people did not believe it.
They did not believe that. No.
Even after the Watchmen, when they did the reboot.
When the Watchmen did it,
nobody knew what the hell Black Wall Street was. Nobody.
I knew I had known about it maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But I remember going to work and asking an older lady, did she ever hear about it? She was like, I've never heard of that. I asked my mother-in-law. She's never heard of it. And she's from West Virginia.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. Like,
and it opened up. That's what I said. The reason why I love that show, number one, just because of great writing, but number two, history lessons. Like, again,
it was a history lesson in every episode.
It really amazes me how many people don't know our history about us, because I've always known and heard about sundown towns. Like, my granny and them used to sit around and talk about, little road trips and stuff. And that's really how I learned about the Green Book. And when the movie came out, I was like, "Ooh, this should be good." It didn't really. It's a couple of documentaries about it that touch more on what it actually is. The Green Book was kind of more about, the the
Not
doctor.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Right,
was
the
more
friendship
bloody.
between those two, but the documentaries really say what it was. But like I've had people over here and we've watched it, and they be like, "I never heard of that. That was actually a real thing." And you kind of want to be like, "Where the fuck you been?" But then you kind of want to just be like, "Yes, it was."
Yeah,
But
you know what happened? We don't listen to our elders, right? And I miss my family's old people, right? Because see, a lot of our history is oral. Yep. We always knew they was never going to write it down. The daughters of the Confederacy wrote our textbooks. White supremacy in mind. So it's like, you know, sometimes like my mother is old as some folk grandmother. Like my mother, God bless her, she in her 70s, right? And so it's like this. My mother was around for a lot of things, bro, that other people's mom might have just read about or seen. And so I had the benefit of people that would have been around. Like my family really had to fight these crackers for their land, bro. Right? Like, and this wasn't like it was like our own personal rosewood just for us. Right. And it's like, yo, this is what happened. And until we pass, and this is why what we do is important.
Right.
Because if we don't tell these stories, right now, listen, you could throw 1 million documentaries out there and it didn't get you half of the Google searches that Lovecraft Country did on real life history.
Right.
I'm still waiting on another network to pick that up. I just refuse to believe that it's just gonna be gone forever.
They will not. I'm gonna tell you what happened. Something got said, words got said, and what they did was that they buried it.
Yep.
I don't give a damn. They can't.
She still puts stuff out on Twitter.
Out there now, they can't. Like it's literal petitions and pages dedicated to it.
You don't understand the power of money and what.
HBO has doubled down on Middle America. Think more content like what's that? Peacemaker?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's what we're about to get more of. That's what Middle America wants to see. Right? And so when Lovecraft Country went off the air, I think it was a beta test. Are we gonna lose all the money now? We took it away. What's gonna happen?
Well, they're losing money.
They're losing money regardless.
They bled quite a bit thanks to the DC movies. They bled quite a bit.
I mean, if you think about it, if you really think about it, between Watchmen and Lovecraft Country, you could be right. I'll give you a point because those were tests, especially Watchmen. Watchmen kind of went to the more extreme side, but still dealt with it. At the same time, Lovecraft just kept on dropping. You know what Lovecraft is? Lovecraft was basically
brilliant.
Schoolyard rock, except with history lessons and no filter. That's pretty much what it was. All you teaching you every episode. That's all that was.
You how to run and teaching you how to run through the woods. Thank you, Jenny Smollett. Before we get out of here, Kira, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can. I wrote it down this time. You can find me on Instagram Fanbase. As Roomful of Blurs, all one word. On Fanbase, I hold a little social chat room every Saturday at 9 p.m. It's a lot of fun. Come by. We talk about everything pop culture and blurred culture in general. And we gossip. I also have a podcast on Spotify, the Apple, something else out there, and it's called Child of Mandalore. And I talk about the history of the Mandalorians and how they're kind of like the Black people of Star Wars, but
they are.
Thank you so much.
They're pretty much.
I make parallels. Trust me. Don't worry. I got you. And you can also find me on TikTok.
Knights of the Old Republic 2. I've been saying that the Mandalorians was ninjas.
We knew what time it was with them colonizing Jedi. We knew.
This is how you know. This is how you know you've grown to be an adult when you realize
the Jedi
wasn't always right.
and yet the dark side was never wrong. But anyway, go ahead, Karen.
Look, they just had a good idea. They just went too far. The
dark side was job creators.
I mean,
they really were. They
created a whole new economy. It was capitalism. But anyway, so that's just a tip of how much I know about Star Wars and its history. You can also find me on TikTok under Child Mandalore because I am.
She's Lady Mandalore.
She's
Lady Mandalore.
Thank you.
That's the name, Lady Mandalore. Will.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just thought about Kira. I can't wait for her for her takes on Mandalorian season 3 when that comes out. I can't wait for that. as she gets real bug-eyed.
They better have at least one black Mandalorian underneath that damn mask. That's the only thing I'm gonna say.
That's what I'm
it.
trying to tell you, bro.
They better have one.
Mandalorians is a lot more brown in the game. Swarthy, dog. Like
I just need the black saber to stay where it is on his hip. But anyway, Black Box 447 is where you can find me, guys, on all socials, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, all that good stuff. I also do have a couple of podcasts that you can find on YouTube and on Facebook by their names. How the Frack We Got Here, my usual daily news political podcast, my video game podcast that I have with my buddy Joe Tonello called Get Bit Podcast. And of course, as Chris has said at the beginning of the show, I do usually handle the wrestling side of Blurred's Eye View. Why? Because wrestling is real, people are fake. Shout out to Miss Candy for that one.
And by the way, Stephanie McMahon has resigned her co-CEO chair, and her father is one of the executives. I don't know what the hell happened.
Vince is not running for office in Connecticut. Take her back.
So
where is the Imperial March when you need it? Just hear Vince McMahon just with smoke entering the room, just like I've returned. No, but
with that walk,
just with the walk, and just I don't need the No Chance music playing. I want the Imperial Death March because that's what it should be at this point. Because WWE's about to get sold, but you can usually find my articles on Blurred's Eye View. Aside from that, guys, like I usually say at the end. Like me, follow me. Don't be a creeper. We'll all be cool.
TJ, you want to go?
I am the unicorn, so I'm exclusively only on IG at TJ_1111. Mr. Fury has graciously given me a few little nouns and verbs to put on the website. So I will be providing a little content for Black-owned businesses at Blurred's Eye View. And I can finally announce this week officially I am at Life Anew Behavioral Health Services. So if you know anybody, it is a Black-owned behavioral health services for any addiction and mental health, which we really need in our community. So I am a new case manager there. And so that is what I've taken on recently. And that's where I can be found.
All right. Hey, everybody. It's the ringleader, the man on the wall, Chris Fury. How you doing? And guess what? You can find us everywhere. If you go to the IG page, Blurred's Eye View, it will send you to the link tree in the bio, where it will send you to Facebook, Blurred's Eye View Podcast. It will send you to Twitch, Blurred's Eye View 1, and it can also send you to the YouTube channel. Go show your love. Hit that notification bell and hit that subscribe button as well, and you'll get great past interviews just like this one we had with our guest Chase Bolling tonight. You can also listen to us on Opulence Radio. Just go to the opulenceradio.com, download the app completely free, and you can listen to those same episodes and piss your boss off. What do you listen to? Nothing. I'm listening to those new profit margins that Warner Brothers are screwing up. In the meantime, we want to thank our guest, Chase Bolling, for coming through. Dope interview, dope book. Go pick it up. The Vanguard, A Dread and Glorious Kingdom. Go pick up his past works. This brother's deep. This brother's working. I want to see all this content. I want to read all this content. Yo, somebody who's smart out there, like All Black or something, not Tubi. So we want somebody that has a budget. Budget that's not afraid to get in the water with us and get this thing made. Whether I was gonna say animation, but this I want to see this.
No, it's gotta be live action.
I want this as live action.
Yeah.
Yes,
and you better start writing that screenplay, please. Work on that.
Because I'm
learning how to write a screenplay so I can write the screenplay. So
because there is a ton of talent, Black talent.
And your dream cast, please, because I know the cast is gonna be mind blowing.
Look.
Oh yeah,
if you watch
somewhere around.
Yeah, if you've watched anything from Blurred's Eye View, we love a good fan cast. We love a good fan cast. So until Thursday, you can catch us every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and also every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, same channels. We will be back this Thursday before we get ready for this Saturday, which is the marathon for the longest video podcast. Not just us, we only get an hour slot, but you're going to see our faces probably more than once on different shows. This is for the March for the Record book. We're trying to go for, we're one of the podcasts that's going for longest running video podcast. So it's going to be for Martin Luther King weekend, 14th, 15th, and the 16th. So you want to tune in for that. More news on that will be coming up, because you won't see us like we normally do. You're not gonna, you don't get the flash and the whole, we're just going straight into it, baby. So until then, like I do with every show, I want to thank our guests once again. Like I do with every show, remember to educate yourself and others, entertain yourself and others, and most of all, encourage yourself and others. This is Chris Fury with this lovely band of people. Thank you, Chase Bolling, for this dope interview. We're out of here.
Thank you for having me.
Bye. Bye.